Some utterly brilliant plays from yesterday's day 3. We're expecting more of the same here in day 4 as we head into our first of 3 series. Before we get to our first series, let's introduce our panel members for day number 4. We'll start with Charlie, Black, and Winter. Good morning, all of you. How are you doing?
Great. Good morning, Paul. You know what I love about this tournament is that every team has been elevating their play as we've progressed. You saw MVP, and then OG tops that. Fnatic and DJ, Newbie tops that. I can't wait to see what we get next.
Winter, we had some fantastic performances yesterday, not least of which from OG, of course, but also Newbie looking very strong, and even LGD really starting to show us what they're made of.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the winners bracket final game.
Yeah. You have to wait for that, though. You have to be patient, Winter. We can't do that until tomorrow.
Yeah, there'll be so many games as well today. And first series, Na'Vi versus Liquid.
Pretty good start.
Yeah, looking forward to that too.
Yeah, and you've got some friends left in this tournament still?
I do, my German friends, of course, but I'm scared for everybody who has to face OG. They just look like... The last time they looked that strong was in the loser bracket in Frankfurt Majors, where they didn't drop a single game after that. I'm really scared for all the teams they're facing now, and they just look to be, in championship form.
Yeah, one of the teams that we haven't mentioned is Vici Reborn, and they won yesterday, 2-1 against DC. Perhaps a little unexpected, Charlie.
Yeah, I think their performance coming in has been a little unexpected. A lot of unexpected things here, but Vici Reborn has shown that they're the North American Slayers.
Yeah, and they're the outsiders, I guess, of the teams left, of the 8 that we've got left. But you wouldn't put it past them to make a run in that low bracket. We can't ever rule it out now. Now we've seen what OG did in Frankfurt. You sort of get that nervous feeling that you just can't count any team out.
Yeah, I'm just a bit nervous for them because they said they really hate playing against Chinese teams, and LGD is like a Chinese powerhouse right now. So I hope they did their homework and they can put up a good fight against them.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, let's take a look at the brackets and update you as to exactly where we are. We are halfway through the main event, 3 days down, 3 days ahead of us, including today. You'll see the upper bracket has OG and Newbie already through to the final. 2 previous winners of Valve events, of course, looking to make it 2 for the first time ever. OG will take on Newbie tomorrow. At the bottom half of the bracket, we're down into the round 3 right now. Team Liquid Na'Vi is our first game up today. We'll also see Vici Gaming Reborn versus LGD later on. And the third game of the day will feature DJ's Fnatic as they will go up against the winners of either Liquid or Na'Vi. That's what we've got ahead of us. I also want to update you on the rankings, boys, because the predictions have been okay so far. I think you've been getting better and better, and Winter currently is doing very, very well as well. So that said, when you compare it to the top 16 that the community came up with and the top 16 that the talent came up with, how are we doing right now? Because the talent, I think, are slightly ahead.
Yeah, we are. Hey, look at that, guys. We sort of know what we're talking about. Just a little.
Yeah, no surprise to see Liquid, OG and Newbie in there. I think probably the biggest one of both votes was probably seeing Wings go out, but EG have gone, Secret have gone, and DC have now gone as well. The community actually had them at number 8. Other than that, English talent still have Vici Gaming Reborn in there in the top 8 as well. So I find that a bit surprising. I mean, consider their group stage performance, Charlie. It was really poor. They're still 3 and 5 in the tournament, which is actually a worse record than Alliance, who have already gone.
Yeah, I think they found very favorable matchups coming into this tournament. They faced up against a very weak EG and a DC that may have underestimated them.
And Na'Vi, obviously the lowest of all of the ranks in there in terms of both community votes and English talent, still here, still kicking strong.
But can they kick strong today against... Wait, who are they playing against?
Liquid.
Oh, against my German boys, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
And well, I personally put Liquid top 1. I still think they're the favorites for this match for sure. And it's going to be relentless aggression against calculated aggression of Liquid, and we'll see which of the two is better.
Today is like the true test for them, whether they can actually do very well against this opponent.
Yeah, biggest test by far, you would say, wouldn't you? Even though they've had a big run in the top
yeah, even though they had a very tough series against
Yeah.
Alliance, but this round is way harder than that round.
Yeah.
So.
And Liquid, Charlie, do you think they'll be okay with this? They'll look at the draw and think, actually, we're okay with Na'Vi
Yeah,
right now.
I think they'll definitely be happy with this. Na'Vi, though, has found some magic in this tournament, but they're going to need a lot more to beat Liquid.
Yeah. Okay. Let's before we get into our first series today, let's talk about the two super teams from yesterday, and we'll start with OG. The shutout is one talking point. Miracle is another talking point altogether on his own. But really, yesterday was the performance of No Tail, which was probably the most outstanding part of the fact that OG have really risen back to the top.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's so good to see him be back in form. He got a lot of flack when he initially moved to the carry position. It was a departure from when he was playing the 4 position on Team Secret. I think during that time, he was one of the best players in the world. And it's really good to see him come back and not just perform well, but be the star of those series.
Yeah. You know what? He was like farming too little before. Like he was trying to control the pace of the game, way too much for his team. And right now he found a balance, controlling the game at the right points and farming when he needed to farm.
What I really like about OG as well is they're so unpredictable now. They pick a Magnus for Miracle because they trust No Tail to just carry the game for them. Before they would just pick a hard carry for Miracle. Yeah, they would just pick a hard carry for Miracle, trusting him to carry the game. But now there's like, it just feels like they found themselves again, and the Frankfurt Major form is back, and that is like really scary.
Are they better than Frankfurt, Charlie?
I would say, yeah, they are. They have 2 weapons now. Back then, it was still very much the Miracle show, and now you have to worry about 2 different players.
4 Protect 1 back then. Now it's like they have 2 guys that can actually take over the game. And not to mention, their supports were doing so well.
Yeah.
Back when they won Frankfurt, you noticed everyone stepped up at least at different points for them to win that tournament. And this tournament is going to be no different.
We're still searching for that second Valve major winner. OG and Newbie obviously in that top bracket. Newbie, you'd have to say, also performed exceptionally well yesterday, Winter.
Yeah, they did. They totally dismantled Fnatic, which I thought the game might have been closer, but Fnatic went for a much more greedier playstyle. Both games they were really, really greedy, and Newbie just destroyed them.
What do you think about that Shadow Fiend pick? That's
Yeah.
really
It was a bit out there, wasn't it?
He was telling me that if RTZ cannot make the hero work, no one can.
I don't agree with that.
I rephrase that. Even if Arteezy will even admit that hero is bad, so you know if he doesn't like it this patch, it's not a good pick.
Yeah, I would also say if Miracle can't play on that, then no one can either. I mean, he played a Morphling yesterday.
I mean, the Morphling game, I would say, his team set it up so easy for him. Like the four other players just basically destroyed the enemy team, and he was free farming all the time. And he came to the fight 40 minutes Lincolns.
So what are you saying? You're saying you don't count that game because it was easy?
Sort of. Like he had a straightforward game.
He did have a straightforward game.
But we spoke about it before, right? When VGR picked the Morphling, the team couldn't make space for him, and then the hero is completely worthless. And then we look at OG, and the team made like a lot of space for him. He had a minute 14 Lincolns, and at that point, he's literally unkillable.
Yeah.
And they just took over the game from there.
Is there anything that we can't see him playing, Winter? I mean, it's almost disturbing for the other teams.
Pretty sure he plays everything.
Meepo.
Oh,
I've not seen Miracle play Meepo yet.
I mean, because they have another Meepo player
Yeah,
doesn't
they do
mean
have a
he
Meepo.
don't.
Fair enough, but I have not seen him play Meepo yet. So maybe that's just like weak point.
Weak point.
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
everyone-
I think we're searching
How many players can play Meepo
needles
Black?
in a haystack here, right? Needles in a haystack,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Really is. I mean, you search for things that he's weak at, and before the tournament, maybe you'd say he was weak at playing Space Creators, but he played Magnus to almost perfection in that last game. So
Yeah.
I really don't know what that guy's weak point is.
It's been a week since he's died in a professional Dota match.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's been a week. It's insane. 4 matches, 4 different heroes, no deaths. What can you do against him? Teams are going to have to find something, aren't they?
Yeah, most players count themselves lucky if they don't die at all in one match. Miracle's done it for a week now.
Yeah,
Let's just pick Lich against that guy. Deny his creeps.
Pick Lich Enigma mid and just deny half his wave.
Just focus on him the entire game just to see if you can get a kill. All right, we're going to get more from all 3 of you in just a moment, but it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for our first series of the day, and we need a couple of teams.
Silent but deadly, much like their team captain Kuroki, this is a squad of reserved players with a formidable playstyle. Hyper-aggressive against even the stiffest opposition, they overwhelm their enemies. They are the European team of the moment. They come to Manila on the back of 3 consecutive grand finals. They are the definition of all for one and one for all.
Welcome on stage, Team Liquid.
After constant rebuilding, Na'Vi have finally found their mojo. Runners-up in their 2 last international events, they are well on the road to recovery. This new and improved roster has kept the team's trademark playstyle, reckless aggression with high-class entertainment. They will come out guns blazing, and with the first-generation boy wonder Dendi back at his best, these daredevils are here to compete, making their first appearance at a Dota 2 major.
Welcome on stage, Na'Vi.
They're getting pretty good at that handshake thing now, aren't they? Na'Vi and Team Liquid will take to the booths. We'll get the thoughts of our panelists right now. We'll start with Charlie, and we'll start with Team Liquid. They were the #1 ranked team in the world when we came into this. They have perhaps slipped down the pecking order right now, but there are 8 teams left, and they're still in with a shout.
Yeah, absolutely. The key for them here is they need to build up confidence back up. I talked to a lot of pros yesterday, and they actually felt that Cole should have won the first series against Liquid. They felt that it was just Cole playing not quite to perfection, but it does show signs of weakness for Team Liquid. It shows signs that they're not feeling as confident or as comfortable with their current way of playing.
I mean, I can agree they have a lot of weaknesses right now, but I think that's more because everybody wants to beat them. They were the best team in the world coming into this tournament, and we spoke about it before. They got a target on their back. Everybody's trying to figure them out. And I think Cole figured them out, but they didn't have the skill and team play to back it up in the end.
Yeah, but they did pick very differently compared to the other series. Liquid, that game, they picked very differently. They prioritized different heroes. They had a different system.
Yeah, if you've noticed, they actually picked a lot like MVP in that last series. I think a lot of people noted that, especially a lot of the pros after the game noted that after MVP did that to Liquid, Liquid thought, hey, maybe this is the way to play. Maybe we should be playing like this instead.
But what's also something to note is they have Heen, a Korean player himself, and also Blitz, who was in Korea for a very, very long time competing against MVP. I think Liquid definitely has the players and versatility to make it work, like the plays that MVP plays. And maybe they have some say in that. They pick that, it's really good, and it fits your style. So I'm not sure why they changed it, but that might be
But don't
why.
you think it's a bad thing that they changed towards how MVP are playing?
I think you shouldn't change your style mid-tournament, but sometimes you need to make adjustments, and maybe they felt like it was time.
But it was too big of an adjustment for, it was so different the way that they are playing.
I completely agree, and I'm not totally sure why they did it. Maybe they were like, Cole is maybe not the best team, let's just try something out, but you also can't do that in an...
They almost lost the first game.
You can't do that in an elimination match. I was really surprised when I saw them play like that, because I was in the talent lounge and everybody was like, Cole has this game, they should win this game right now. And then something didn't work out and then they lost, but they really had the upper hand in both games.
Isn't that the key, Charlie, though, to Team Liquid's success, as well as the great play that they've played, is that they've minimised the amount of mistakes that they make and they've capitalised on them when other teams have given them.
Yeah, not just Team Liquid or Cole, but every team here. That's just the key to success for Dota. So I think both teams are going to have to clean up their play here.
Okay. Let's talk about Na'Vi now. They've had a very good tournament. And I guess if you'd said to them, you can have top 8, Na'Vi, at the next major, they probably would have taken that 6 months ago. But the fearsome determination of Dendi in particular is extraordinary when you think of the success that he's had and how long it's been since he's enjoyed TI success, and yet he's still there driving the team forward, wants to win majors, wants to win big events.
He has so much motivation to win, and yes, he's such a team player. He works very hard. You know, what else can you say about that guy? Just such a hardworking chap. Right? Everyone wants him to succeed.
Yeah.
What I want to say about Dendi is, you know, a lot of pros have a lot of haters and a lot of fans. But it feels like with Dendi, he only has a lot of fans and very, very few haters. Like when you compare it
I
to
don't think he has any, Black. Are you trying to come out now as a Dendi hater? Is that what you're doing?
We are really good friends. I love him. And whenever we meet each other, he takes a weird camera shot of me, making like a weird face or
I
something.
think he does that with a lot of people as well. I noticed that at TI last year. Yeah, he's like, can I have a selfie? And I'm like, what? Yeah. He's
I'll show you how to pick up girls. And just like,
do you need that kind of help? Is that?
Nah, not
No,
anymore.
he doesn't need it anymore.
Oh.
This guy. This guy. Charlie,
Put him
outside
in
of
the
Dendi,
Macho Man contest.
we should put him in the Macho Man contest. Dendi's 1 of 5. He said that all along. He said it in his interview. He's a very humble guy. He's even got the crowd to stop chanting Dendi and start chanting Na'Vi now as well. How important, though, is he as a GL person in that team?
Very. But, you know, like you said, he's only one cog in a 5-man machine. For Na'Vi this series, what's going to be really important is not only for them to do well in the laning stage, but I feel like they need to get ahead in the laning phase and really put pressure on Liquid. If you know.
That depends whether they get the channel Enchantress, whether they want to go down that route.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, do you feel like Liquid is going to ban both the Chen and the
They
Enchantress?
probably won't. Do you think they will even ban?
I think they'll ban one, but not the other.
I think they'll ban Enchantress because it has much more aggressive potential than Enchant.
All right. Well, let's talk about bans in a moment. I want to talk about the mid-matchup as well because it's going to be really crucial for both teams in this one that these guys play well and do their best. Fana, we've spoken about him a number of times already. Dendi, we know his strengths, we know his weaknesses, but how well does Fana have to play in this game, in this matchup? How important is it to Team Liquid as a whole?
Doesn't he
to
need
get a
to
good
just
start?
be stable, do you guys think?
Yeah,
he
I
just needs
agree.
to do his job.
Fata is always the most stable on Team Liquid. He is on his mid lane. He never really loses. He never really wins. He just does what he has to do. And I think that's what he will have to do this game as well.
It's been far more stable as well in the last 6 months or so, Charlie, and that's really helped the team.
Yeah, and that's something that he just needs to continue to do. Out of all the players on Liquid, Fada, we talk about how they don't have egos, how they're all very calm and humble people. Out of all of them, maybe Fada is the one to most likely buck that trend. But, you know, during his time on Liquid, in contrast to his time on C9, he has adopted that much more, that, I guess, Kuroki culture of very calm play, team-oriented, not overextending, not tilting, not being cancer within the team.
That's a good summary, Charlie. I like that. It's very fulsome as well. Nice words. What is going on with you this morning? Did you sleep or something last night?
Yeah, got a lot better rest.
He woke up on the right side of the bed this morning, it seems. He hasn't even flamed winter yet on the panel.
Oh,
thanks,
don't
Charlie.
worry, don't worry.
It's
it'll
coming.
come.
It's
Yeah.
coming. Okay. Black, in terms of the way that your two German friends in Liquid have played so far, how do you rate them?
Well, for me, I played with both of them in mouse sports back then, and Kuroki left for Na'Vi. And during the time where I played with him, I always thought he's like an amazing captain. The only reason mouse sports back then was so successful was because of his leadership. If you trust him, he will make it work. And for Fata, I can say he had a lot of attitude issues back then, but he's worked them out completely. He's a completely different player now, and I really like what he has become.
I gave him a lot of credit, but I don't want to say completely just yet.
Okay, maybe.
Oh, you know something, dude.
Do you know something?
Yeah, I think he knows something.
If you know something, come out now.
All I'm going to say is that winning solves everything, right?
Right.
But you know, we'll see how long they can win for.
It also masks everything as well, though, doesn't it?
It does. But you know, at the same time, change, growth, learning is something that takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of their recent events and tournaments and the results that they've had, do you feel like they maybe have peaked too soon? With obviously the major now, and then TI not too far away. We had this issue with Secret last year where they dominated and then got to TI and got figured out. Is Team Liquid on the same kind of road?
I'm hesitant to really talk about things like peaking and whatnot. I don't think it's so much of an issue of peaking. It's more of a issue of can teams maintain that level of focus, or do they develop the right habits to continue that level of play? Because I hate the term peaking because it makes it sound like there's an inevitable fall off, and it doesn't have to be that way if you just do the right things.
All right,
not just inside the game,
as
but
we've
outside.
got the ex-manager of Evil Geniuses on here and a TI winner of himself as well. Talk to us about that last year, because Evil Geniuses, they won DAC and then they went quiet a little bit through the summer, and then they came into TI. They weren't really anyone's particular favourites. Everyone was talking about Secret. EG were kind of in there in the mix, but they weren't considered the favourites, and yet they played so well and they won TI. Was that not part of a bigger plan?
Yeah, I mean, it's just about, we had all the right pieces coming into the tournament. We grabbed Bulba, got a lot more support staff come in to help with the tournament, and I feel like during that moment, the entire team was very focused on what they needed to do. It was a little stressful, but I feel like that stress also helps.
Right. But was it a plan earlier on? You know, did you think 2 months, 3 months out from TI? Okay, how do we win TI? What's the plan?
I mean, that's always the plan. That's all anybody ever
year?
thinks about. Yeah, for the entire year, not just 2-3 months out.
Yeah. Okay. Winter, in terms of their opponents today, Na'Vi, they've made a bit of a comeback. Last year was very miserable for them in terms of not reaching majors and not qualifying for tournaments. By the turn of this year, they started re-qualifying for tournaments. Then they've started being invited. Now they've started winning as well. How far away are they from that top 3 or 4 teams?
Maybe there's still quite a gap. I'm not sure. We'll have to see after this game, but they definitely improve a lot. When sometimes when you keep winning, you need like a period of time where you lose and you have roster swaps. You know, you need time to think about how you can keep moving forward, and that's what they have done.
Yeah.
They have a few roster swaps and they're improving, and they got here. Like, people might have just sometimes counted them out, but they proved that their hard work paid off.
Yeah. And group stage-wise, Black, they played exceptionally well, qualified at the top of their group. Did that surprise you?
It honestly didn't, because for me, they're like a wild card. They're relentless and reckless aggression. Like, their enemies have to be really afraid, but they themselves, I'm sure they're also really afraid of it, because whether it works out or not, we can only see in the game, but it's always like a 50-50. If it works out, they will roll you over. If it doesn't work out, you will like pretty much automatically lose. And I think that's why they're so scary here too. That's why I think they could take the series against Liquid. But if everything goes as planned for Liquid, then I think they're the big favorites here.
Okay, Charlie, did you detect anything on the walkout? I know we've talked about this psychology thing where you see the players walking out. Some are nervous, some are really into it, some are cheering, some are waving. I mean, when you saw Liquid come out, you saw them waving, they're pretty chill. Jerax looks like he's just got out of bed.
I mean, that's how he always looks.
He does. And then Na'Vi come out, and I have to say, they genuinely looked a bit more nervous to me. I don't know, maybe I saw something.
I mean, it's elimination day. You're against the favorites. It's natural. It's natural. I wouldn't put too much stock on the walkout.
But don't you think if you look at the previous series both teams played, Na'Vi got more confidence from their win against Alliance than Liquid was just called, because Liquid looked more scared. And they were supposed to have a much easier series, but they almost lost the first game. So they would have lost confidence, and Na'Vi would have already gained more confidence from their previous series.
At the same time, you are facing against Liquid. I think, yes, series do give you confidence, but at the same time, players are always going to be realistic about who they're facing. But I'm glad you guys brought up confidence, because that's going to be super important for Na'Vi here. I feel like they need to get out ahead on laning stage and make Liquid feel that pressure, make them feel afraid, and give themselves confidence.
Okay, prediction time. Black, we're going to start with you. Which way is this series going?
The overall series is going to be taken by Liquid.
You said boring, Winter. Come on, give us something fun.
I think Na'Vi's
Why
gonna.
are you looking at me?
I think Charlie's gonna pick Na'Vi. So
Do you think Charlie's? This is like some sort of psych out going on there.
I have this feeling that they'll be riding on their confidence today. So I'm going for Na'Vi.
Oh, man.
Okay, one for Liquid, one for Na'Vi. Charlie?
I think despite Liquid's maybe shaky performance against Cole, I think one of their big advantages in the last few months has been their pickup of Blitz. He does a great job of calming player mentality and really getting everybody on the same page. I think he did his homework last night. I think he's just done a great job with these players, so I'm going to pick Liquid.
I agree with Blitz too, but we can't forget He has been coaching Liquid at the last tournament as well, and they did spectacular there as well.
Okay. Most stable roster in NA Dota right now, Blitz said last night. Just saying that, you know.
Wait. Blitz said that Liquid is the most
No,
stable.
veggies.
Oh. Hey, I'm on that team right now.
That's why I brought it up. Okay, so 2 Liquid, 1 Na'Vi. How does social media measure up Na'Vi versus Team Liquid? I've got a funny feeling that Na'Vi might just get some support here. What do you know? Look at that. Twitch 64-36 in favour of Na'Vi. Twitter 66-34 in favour of Na'Vi. Yeah. So don't discount that either, because the community have been right many times already this week and outshone the analyst at times. So I have to say, you guys have sucked this week at times.
Sometimes we overthink it.
Kind of put yourself into a totally different area.
Sometimes we just suck.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlie, for just making that plain and simple. We're going to head into the draft. It is up and running. We haven't had any bans yet. What are you expecting, Winter? Anything funky early on? Is Game 1 the perfect time for Kuroki just to experiment a little bit?
I don't know, man. I don't feel they will experiment anything. After their series against Complexity, I think they're just going to pick whatever they're most comfortable and confident.
Just one thing I think we haven't addressed about Liquid yet is in the last 4 tournaments they attended, they always reached the grand final, I think.
Last 3.
Or the last 3, they always reach the grand final. So I think confidence is definitely not an issue for them, or it should not be, because they faced elimination many, many times.
I don't know, Charlie, sometimes you get to that point though, don't you? Where, oh, can we make another one? But
Oh,
the
yeah,
more you
absolutely.
make, you start wondering whether you can make another one.
Case in point, Evil Geniuses. I don't know how many final placements that they had, podium finishes, but they just couldn't get that #1 spot again after TI5.
Slaughter first pick. We've had a Chen banned out by Team Liquid. That's a respect ban, I guess, for Na'Vi.
Yeah.
Something the
Well,
Chen over Enchantress.
you guys expected the Eng.
Yeah, we did.
Instead of the Chen.
Speaking of sucking.
And the Lifestealer Lycan. 2 very powerful heroes so far in this particular tournament.
Matumba's Lycan is like probably the best in the tournament, so it would be foolish not to ban it.
But are you guys surprised that they actually went for the Slaughter instead of the Beast for Liquid?
I actually am, because I haven't seen Liquid play Slaughter that much, and I felt like they're really confident in their Beastmaster.
Wait, will they ever actually run safe lane Slaughter
No,
on Matumba Man?
it's usually the offlane Slaughter for
Yeah.
mind control,
It's
and then a hard carry for Matumba Man.
Has Matumba Man played Safe Lane Slaughter?
No.
I don't think so.
But I think that I actually favor that a little more with the current playstyle. I feel a few teams like a good example would be MVP has found a lot of success with a safe lane Slaughter.
I think what we've seen out of a lot of offlane Slaughters is that they tend to get really, really far behind, and then after that Blink Dagger, maybe they pick up a 4-staff, but after that they can't pick up farm, and they don't get those pickups.
Yeah, if you do offlane Slaughter, you have to rely on your supports to make a rotation, or even like a core. When you get ultimate on your core, like let's say a Juggernaut with Omni Slash, you have to go to his lane and help him. Otherwise, he's going to have a very bad timing on his blink, and it affects the whole gameplay.
And what is really important with Slaughter is exactly what Charlie said. You cannot just try to kill heroes all the time. You need your time to farm up, because you need that BKB eventually. You need to be able to initiate. And if you don't have to farm with Slaughter, you will just become like a burden for your team in the end.
So you would actually be the guy that gets a Midas after his blink. This Slaughter blink.
You know what Black's thinking right now.
I actually think that's one of the best builds. and I
Please
think
don't tear him again.
Moon does that a lot from OG actually. He always goes Blink into Midas, and then he transitions into like a semi-carry that's really good for his team in the mid-late game. And I really like that build, because he doesn't fall too far behind.
You just want to see more Midases, don't you?
I love Midas, and we have a Phoenix as well. It's going to be 2 in one team.
Oh, man.
I feel like
Is the crowd cheering you for buying Midases?
I feel like someone's hypnotized him and just put the word Midas in his head.
This guy buys Midas, buys Battle Fury, buys Radiance. What do you expect, Paul? This guy,
It's disgusting, Winter.
he just farms everything on your map. If you're on his team, you just basically get nothing from this guy.
Oh, but just
Defense
listen,
of the farmers.
just listen to the sound when you kill a creep. The sound is so soothing. You're like,
worry about you Black sometimes, I really do. There's an Elk and a Brood banned out, and a Drow from Team Liquid. Not a big surprise.
The
to see
Brood is
Drow go,
the
but
Brood is weird
the Brood,
though.
odd,
Yeah.
isn't it? They've not really gone that way before, so why would they do that now?
Maybe they have something in mind that just gets countered by Brood and they don't want to deal with it.
Banning the Tinker, one of Dandy's best heroes.
I mean, Brood usually does very well against like Drow Ranger type of lineups.
Well, they banned out a Drow first, though.
Yeah, so
I guess it also says that they're not too worried about Dendy on the Windrunner, I guess, without the Drow.
But Drow in general with Beastmaster is always very, very strong, though. You have to be so afraid that if you lose one team fight, you might just lose your whole base, because they push so quickly.
there's still the Enchantress though. I mean, you guys talked about
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been touched
especially
yet.
Charlie mentioned about how important it is for Navi to seize control of the early game.
Especially Enchantress with Disruptor, they're like, that's a really, really strong support combo.
Yeah, because you can't run away
Yeah.
with Glimpse.
Like you smoke into mid lane, he might see it coming at the end, you just get glimpse back and just die. And I go for the Juggernaut.
5 men, I guess.
Yeah.
They have Jug, they have Beastmaster. They're on the dire side.
Beast plus Jug together is a very strong push combo. You can go Roshan pretty much whenever you want to. You have Necro 1, you can just sneak that Roshan in, and it's really hard to contest. And of course, one of the best heroes against Slardar, when you get Manta, then you have Battle Fury as well as Manta to get rid of the amplified damage.
Yeah, good versus the egg as well.
What is so funny?
Yeah,
right
what's
now?
up? What are you laughing
just
about?
Winter, like, every time we talk about it, it reminds me that he hates your builds, that's all. Every time.
Oh my
Oh
god,
yeah,
the Manta!
yeah.
Oh.
Winter mentioned that I hate Lincolns and Black hates Manta.
Yeah, I think we found your kryptonite between you.
Tilted.
Yeah.
Well,
DK for Team Liquid.
that's interesting that they picked their mid that early.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you guys talk about, remember during the role comparison, you talk about Fata, we all mentioned that he just needs to play stable.
Yeah.
So DK is one of those like stable heroes. And you know, the difference between Navi and Liquid, maybe Navi would actually rely on Dandy to actually move around. I think I spoke about this before. When you have DK, you wish the enemy mid laner is running around so you can actually take the tower.
Yeah.
So maybe this is like the distinct idea that they want to have in this game where they're expecting Dandy to move and they want a mid hero that can actually take advantage of it.
It's like Dandy Puck, Dandy Windrunner, he's going to TP to the safe lane, try to kill their heroes, and then DK is just going to activate ult and push the tower. Maybe
Yeah.
1 or 2
Right.
support rotations.
But why wouldn't you pick Death Prophet in that scenario instead? It's better at taking the tower. It's also just a better laner overall. My worry with DK is that he can lose so many matchups, and I think that's like very key here for Liquid is to at least come out even in the laning stage.
Yep.
The only reason why might be because they want to pick a hero as carry that can push that well and that doesn't have disables necessarily, because there's not many mid heroes that have a disable right now. There's like Puck, there's DK, Windrunner.
Maybe it's also the cooldown. They do not want to play too much on cooldowns because DP you have to play your game around your
I mean,
ultimate.
they've also said effectively by putting that DK in the mid that they're not really that worried what Dendy runs right now. And the 3 most popular he's been running recently, Windrunner, Invoker, Queen of Pain. They're not going to really worry too much about any of that, are they?
I think Queen might be the most suitable. I don't actually really like Puck that much against DK because once you move, you have a high chance of losing your tower, and it's really bad for your team when you lose that mid tower very early.
And mid-late game, DK is a hard counter to Puck. You get that instant initiation on. You generally don't have a lot of HP on Puck, and you will just die. But the same goes. Or
there we
do
go.
go back to the Enchantress.
Okay.
Finally. But I mean, they weren't really scared that Liquid would pick it up because they usually don't run it. Yeah. So
Oh, safe lane lone
going
druid.
back for the Matumba Lone Druid.
Okay.
That is like
So-
a very, very strong push.
I understand the Dragon Knight pick a little more here now. They just want a bunch of tanky cores just to face rush towers. So they are going back to their old style. Instead of, trying to run around and get pickoffs, they're trying to just push.
It's
That-
very
that makes
slow
sense,
though.
like, yeah, it makes sense though against a team like Na'Vi who do like to jump in.
Yeah, but the
right?
thing is, it's very slow. Their pace of the game will be really slow. Think about it. If you talk about the off-lane Slada, you need to wait for him to get his blink, and he's not going to get a blink fast. Phoenix needs a lot of levels. DK is not going to get too much tempo done in the game unless he gets a haste rune. He gets a good rune. Otherwise, he's going to be static. He's going to be sitting in his lane. Lone Druid, you're going to wait for his Radiance. Midas
Well,
Radiance at 18.
I think it's a little different here because the way Matumba Man plays it and the way Liquid plays the safe lane Lone Druid is they don't wait for the Radiance.
They just go.
Yeah, they just, the moment everybody hits their level timings, they just go run at towers.
Lone Druid for them before Radiance plays more like a tank. I'm gonna disrupt it with the bear kind of role. and then after the Radiance, he transitions into that regular hard carry role.
It feels like they are pushing him into this Windrunner because the DP's banned now.
I really like the Windrunner, but what I would also really like to see is the Timber Saw. It is incredible against the lineup. They have
it's great. It's super
they have
good.
3 strength cores, and Lone Druid, DK, Slaughter, they're not...
That is actually a super good pick here. That is super good for Na'Vi.
I agree.
It's way better than the DP, I think.
Hasn't played it in the last 3 months.
That might be an issue. Like we don't want him to run the Timber Saw just because it's good. We have seen it yesterday on Wii.
Yeah, we saw it.
It was an amazing pick, but if you're not confident on hero, you shouldn't draft it. Then rather just pick a Windrunner that you really like.
The things that he has been running are things like the TA. Even a Zeus.
TA is not that great here, I think.
Yeah. It's real bad against
Zeus
5-man.
might be good, but
it's a really out there kind of pick, though. It hasn't been picked in this tournament yet.
I don't like Zeus that much.
He's gonna die repeatedly, though, Zeus against this.
And
this
you can double pipe as well. Like the double pipe really nerfed Zeus into the ground.
And I think that Zeus versus Slada, it used to be good because you can disable his blink easily, but not anymore.
They changed the static,
They go for the Venge to amplify their push.
So the only things really are the Windrunner or the Invoker.
Maybe Invoker, Crossworks, but I still think Timber is better than Invoker.
You have Beastmaster to set up your ganks, and you have Enchantress to secure your laning phase. And
But
Invoker,
if he feels confident.
Yeah, he's confident on Invoker for sure.
Yeah. It's probably going to be Invoker. Or I would really like to see the Timber Saw, though. I hope he can play it, and
this really is the perfect Timber game. There's not too much like silence for him, not a lot of magic damage either.
Yeah, hasn't played Timber
Or
in
they
the
go for
last
the
12
Bat
months. Instead,
that is unexpected. I feel like they're going to have DPS problems late game.
But it's the same issue with the Puck. Bat Rider wants to move, and when he moves, DK is going to take his tower.
But on top of that, they simply don't have the damage right now to kill their 3 tanky cores.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really hard draft for Na'Vi to execute. They can't make many mistakes, or they lose all their towers and the whole control of the game.
Okay, all right. Good stuff from all 3 of our panel members once more. We'll hear back from them again at the end of game 1. For now, we're going to our commentary desk, though, where Toby One is waiting.
Luckily, I'm also here with Malini, ready for Na'Vi versus Team Liquid. Game number 1. How are you feeling for this one, Malini?
It's a classic push strat coming out from Liquid. They could end it before 20. Let's see.
I'd like to see if that happens, especially up against Na'Vi. We want to see how much pressure they can also apply. We're going to find out in just a bit because the game is about to start. Enchantress, Bat Rider, the panel were talking about a couple of other heroes to maybe replace the Bat Rider. Okay, actually looks like we're good to go, so let's go straight to the game.
Team Liquid versus Na'Vi.
And we are here to get underway. Team Liquid versus Na'Vi. Game number 1 of this best of 3 elimination is the lower bracket. Round 3. Winner will face up against Fnatic. The loser will get to watch the game.
So early game, looks like Jerex has already smoked up, used a dive to get deep into Na'Vi's territory, dropping that Sentry Ward to block Enchantress's spawn. A lot of Na'Vi's strategy hinges upon this Enchantress getting kills early, making sure that Bat Rider can get his early Blink Dagger because their anti-push is not strong at all.
Well, Seneko gets to win a small little battle. Finds that Observe Ward, which is planted by Mind Control. Thanks to the Observe Ward, they also planted up next to the Radiant Secret Shop. They could see Mind Control making that run, waited perfectly in the tree line, and then just a simple D Ward. So vision-wise, now Team Liquid actually only have 1 Observe Ward on the lane, and that's actually on the bottom lane, blocking the Beastmaster pull.
So Enchantress does have a smoke, no sentries on her, but after that 1 Observer Ward's already taken down, she should feel pretty safe.
Matabaman going to try and contest this bottom rune. Farda's here as well, going to walk in. Siki napalms up with a dive forward. A lot of damage already coming out. Jirax is dropping down low, but Dendy, he's being focused down by Team Liquid. He will get back up the hillside, whilst actually the Phoenix will be the first blood. Taken by Na'Vi, art style, killing off Jirax. And they're able to bail back out. So first blood goes the way of Na'Vi after Liquid really tried to contest Na'Vi heavily for that bot rune.
And Dendy ended up getting the bounty rune too. Napalm just makes engagements like that really difficult to chase down in hero.
So the bounty rune still ended up being split because the top one went the way of Mind Control. But we go into our laning phase now. So Dendy could feel very happy, able to obviously like get bounty rune. So how is this matchup meant to work? Like you got the last pickup from Na'Vi. Batrider was their last one, so they have to feel confident that this hero is going to have a big impact.
I think he has pretty good kill potential on the Dragon Knight. I think they definitely want something that's tempo control and not as farmy on him. It's just struggles if you, let's say you blink in, you get stunned by DK, or you get Savage Reward instantly, or they have the Vengeful Spirit swap. Like any of these things can interrupt his flow. And if you have a bad team fight, you can lose 1-2 towers and then Roche. So it's just a very high-risk hero from Na'Vi.
Well, they have to have something that will help them pay off and get ahead in this game.
Art style looks like he's heading down to the bottom. There are no wards. He didn't smoke for this.
No, he's just here to try and make sure there's no easy farming of any kind of neutrals. And obviously, like with his presence on bottom lane with the double boars, Kuro can't easily just zone out general if you've got that help from the Enchantress. And it can also make Fada like look behind him, because right now Fada's actually got 5 sticky napalm stacked on him from Dendi, and actually turn on the Firefly. Let's just force Fada back behind the tier 1 tower and give Dendi all the space in the world to farm up.
And Jerax may have a difficult time searching for his levels if Artstyle is constantly in his jungle. I don't think these two heroes can.
Kuro is actually going to go down for the bot rune. You got yourself a side of blast. The boar's not going to get in range, or maybe it will try and slow down Kuro. The attack actually hits uphill, which means Arstyle's got a chance right now. That side of blast is back off cooldown, but he needed to actually commit to one hero. Very difficult to do when you got sprites coming out from Jerax.
Jerax going with the level 2 Fire Spirit, much better at dealing with this one-on-one situation against the Enchantress.
As opposed to what we've normally seen, which is like that heavy amount into Sunray early on.
I don't know how much access he has to that right camp. I think the Observer Ward blocks that one, so he doesn't have that many camps to work with on the right side of the map.
Still want to keep my little side eye over on Mind Control. He's managed to find a couple of levels. Okay.
Nice snipe from Enchantress.
With Mind Control up on this top lane, the Snako is going to start to pose a bit of a threat. With the combination of Diddy Ra, it's just either a simple glimpse or wall, and then allow for a full spin against Mind Control, something which he can't really just crush his way out of.
Yeah, he might need phase boost just to ensure it versus, let's say, a level 2 sprint from Mind Control.
So he can actually keep up.
In Artstyle, his camp will be unblocked at this point. Jerax placing that sentry very, very early. And he will have a troll. This might be a smoke from Artstyle.
So right now, obviously we had first blood, but after that everything started to simmer down. There's been a couple of rotations, but not much more beyond that. Is this really favoring one team? Like, I know Winter was saying, like, it's a slower paced game for Team Liquid. Hello, top lane, Mind Control. The spin from Diddy Ra. He's trying to get into the tree lines. Mind Control keeps the run going. Snako also rotates over. Got cancel off the south, but the double crush. Mind Control. He's just going to sprint his way out. Can he get through the wall? No, he can't. He's controlled and locked, but Diddy Ra still does not have the damage, and he doesn't have that movement speed. The phase boots aren't there yet. So Slaughter is able to escape. But this will force Mind Control all the way back to the well.
Yeah, very nice moves by Slaughter. Without the ceiling salve, he would have definitely been dead fish.
Well, Fada might be up a little bit too far. Arstyle's going to start his rotation. He needs that troll trap to come. You've got the actually the Purge Creep as well, slowing him down. Fada trying to reach that tier 1 tower. He just can't do it. The sticky napalm, Firefly's there, and Dendi will take the kill in the mid.
Nice movement by Artstyle. And kind of maybe waiting to save his Arcane Rune for that level 6 push, and yeah, this is already putting a dent into Liquid's timing. You want to be able to push the tower down, or at least get some damage on it 6 minutes in. I don't think Fada's going to be level 6 by then. And the supports are really struggling to keep bottom lane stable for Matumba.
You still have Matumba with the highest amount of CS on the board, and this Lone Druid, like, you've played a lot of Lone Druid safe lane in your time as well. How do you even shut it down, and can you shut down a safe lane Lone Druid? Like, he's still going to hit a sweet time with Radiance, right?
Right, but you can just make all his teammates pretty useless. If he's the only one that's really farmed, you can kite the bear. They have reward to lock it down if they really want to at some point, but they have a lot of right-click damage. They can't really poke at towers without fear of return damage.
That's what Liquid always likes to do with the Lone Druid. They want to poke in when they hit a a half-decent level timing at least.
They never have eyes on this Enchantress. I think that Observer Ward at the start like really hurt them. Now they can't really foray into Navi's side of the map, and Artstyle can feel very comfortable running around.
Especially when you're able to de-ward another Observer Ward. In fact, it's going to be a smoke maneuver. Artstyle and Snako together. Artstyle, however, is bone dry when it comes to mana, so don't look for any kind of slow, don't look for any kind of heal. But Dendi starts his Firefly, but it's mind control, rotates over, breaks the smoke of Artstyle. Kuro's still here, but they're going to glimpse Farta back over underneath Dendi's Firefly. Farta, however, stands his ground up against Dendi. The burst damage is there. The Sunray will also arrive, making it so Na'Vi is a little bit more cautious about this, but then again, Diddy Ra runs forward. He's got Spin of Babel. He'll focus onto the Phoenix. The wall locking in Kuro as well, allowing Artstyle's army to move forward underneath the T1 tower, but Dragon Form is up, and Farta wants to fight. The stun's on Diddy Ra thanks to that Slaughter Crush, and now the Omni Slash. He's hit level 6 during the engagement. Will bounce back out, and Diddy Ra on 60 HP will retreat behind his Tier 1 tower. Heavy committal from both teams, but not a lot of blood spilt.
And Dragon Knight picked up 2 early points in the Dragon Tail, that combined with the Arcane Rune. 7.7 cooldown on that stun. And that's value Arcane Rune coming out from him.
And that's still your first Dragon Form triggered, and you haven't done any damage to the Tier 1 tower. Obviously, you still survive the fight with a 1-1 trade.
It was a little obvious from Na'Vi. Once they dropped the Sentry Ward, they know the supports are around, because it's rarely going to be given to the mid hero to de-ward. And then it's very common to Sentry, make sure they don't have vision of you, and then smoke. So the supports were positioned right around the Ancients to pop it from the north side.
Interesting to see this lane switch. Dendi's actually moved down to bottom lane now. He's got 1k gold banked up, so obviously you're still looking for that Blink Dagger timing. But straight after the fight happens, and they switch General into the mid. He's hit his level 6 as well, but is shy of mana to actually have Raw.
Still need a few more stacks out for him. The supports have been very, very busy trying to slay Liquid's heroes. There is a 3 stack in the Radiant safe lane. Let's see if Dendi can get that for a Blink Dagger. He's at 1150 gold right now.
Waiting for this group up in mid. Looks like Team Liquid are going to bring in the extra help. Kuro's got smoke as well. Looks like he's just doing a bottom maneuver for now, as Mind Control wants to loop around. There's no dire Observer Ward thanks to Team Liquid, finding that Na'Vi Observer Ward sitting on the high ground of the Na'Vi side. They know that Na'Vi doesn't have great vision around the river.
The timeline of Enchantress's strength is expiring soon. These heroes are getting pretty tanky. Dragon Knight, level 7 with 1000 HP, with just treads.
Is that why Artstyle now is transitioning himself into Hand of Midas, realizes he can just become this damage dealer in the mid game?
Yeah, I think he did enough damage in this early game. I think if you force it too much at this point, then you're not going to get kills and you're going to fall way too far behind. And they need the damage output from him later. He can be a pretty good anti-push if he's sitting on the high ground throwing spears at the DK or at the bear. It can really hurt their push. They have some sustain in the defense.
Denny's a very happy man. He just took that triple stack, which was on the top lane on his Dire side. So he's now sitting at 1900.
And as the panel mentioned, as soon as Dendi leaves the lane, mid tower getting pressured very hard. Dragon Knight with a DD rune on.
But there's no one to defend it because Dendi leaves and General, in fact, just rotated down to bottom lane. Now the TP support's coming with Fortification as well, just forcing him away. That's a double damage rune TK. You do not want to fight into it. Just dissuade him from taking your tower.
And they didn't even try for the glimpse, so they probably only know that there's 2 heroes there. If there were more, they would have at least
double TPs are on their way. It's Snako. He's got Storm up and running. He's going to pull Farta back into it, however. Waiting for that glimpse timing is not really going to happen for him, but the spin damage, then he's going to get hit out of that Firefly. It's actually Jirax with that Sunray doing the work. Farta, can he actually get out of here? Not with a double crush from Mind Control. Na'Vi, they've lost 3 heroes here. A triple kill for Jirax. Nat Phoenix causing absolute havoc for Na'Vi, coming from behind the lines and giving no way to retreat.
I mean, no one was really ready for that. I don't know if like Snako had just hit level 6, but I think they should have engaged right after they used a glyph. They could have isolated the Dragon Knight close to the
top lane
T1
as
tower.
well. Snako may not escape from this one. He'll glimpse Mind Control out of here. And that will allow him to get a little bit of distance, but Kuro's also rotating up. He's got swap available, so he can pull Snako back over again. Exactly what he does with the stun, and with the basic attacks, Wave of Terror, there's almost no armor on Snako, but Denny wants to try and punish now the Team Liquid drafter. Kuro on the run, Artstyle's behind him. They can slow him down. He's dragged the creep wave too, so Kuro understands that he is most definitely dead, but he's wasting time here of Denny and Artstyle.
and that will be Denny's Blink Dagger immediately picked up after that. It was just a really strange engagement that T1. Seneko had missed his kinetic field on the two heroes. They weren't locked inside the static storm, yet he kept chasing forward, and that just led so many heroes to be hit by that Sun Ray and the eventual crush by Mind Control. You can't make mistakes like that if you want to defend against Liquid's push.
Yep. And that gives Liquid a good momentum. In fact, it was Na'Vi who was leading the way. They had about 2k gold advantage, about 1,700 in the experience, and all of that was just negated after the last fight in the mid lane.
So let's see if there is a smoke. So Nico has one on him. Denny does not have one in his inventory. Drop a sentry, make sure that there's no vision, and now it's time.
Didira staying close. You can smoke up from Denny and Seneko, but they've got to ping and realize the attack. Yeah, they've cottoned onto the fact, and more Didira cuts through the tree line until they can see each other. The lovers tunnel up on top lane. And now Dendy, smoke's going to break into the Firefly. He's still got that blink, lasso on Mind Control, but no, the glimpse from Seneko actually breaks the lasso of Dendy.
Kuro's like, I didn't even need to swap there. They were ready for that. Even if that hadn't happened, Kuro would have swapped, and then Sara would have been able to get a crush off. So that was just a little bit hasty by them.
It just exposes the problems here in game one for Na'Vi. Like, things are not synergizing properly.
They should have better vision with the Beastmaster. I feel like they haven't been able to scout out Liquid's movements. They didn't know that two heroes were there. They plopped the Observer Ward down as they were making that move. And now with the recently acquired Supernova, Jerax just ate that tome not too long ago. And another Arcane Rune for Dragon Knight.
Just Dragon Form after Dragon Form when he can do this kind of jazz. This smoke maneuver, they're going to find him. It's Didira. He's got his own Observer on the other side of the tree line, so Mind Control smoke will break. But Didira, he knows he's in trouble. Spin TP out. In comes Mind Control. No point up in bash, but you got the swap from Kuro. And Didira, he'll go down on the top lane. Kuro taking the kill, and this means Tier 1 Tower will fall straight after. It's already injured.
And everything pretty much going according to Liquid's plan at this point. Matuma Man closing in on that Relic quite soon. He's been very quiet on the bottom lane.
Well, that's the reason why Dendy's probably down here. They're trying to do something about it, but Liquid, they feel something's coming. Either that or they want to just move from tower to tower. The Tier 1 Tower's already lost on the bottom lane. Okay, General will commit Raw to kill off that bear. Anything he can. Actually, Matoma doesn't have mana at the moment. He can't even resummon his new bear yet. It is off cooldown, and he's got a clarity, so he's fine.
Dragon Knight wasn't even forced to commit Dragon Form for that T1 tower, so they can keep on knocking on the T2s. And Juggernaut's really not fight ready at this point. He didn't get that early kill on the Slardar, and he just has a Ring of Health right now. If he goes Vanguard, it's not going to be good at stopping the push at all. But if he farms for the Battle Fury, they might lose all the T2s before he can dish out any damage.
So is that just when you have to make space? Like, you put Arnstyle out in the front lines, he's going to have his Dragonlance pretty soon, and get better initiations with Seneko as well as Dendy. Combine them up properly.
They need the Roar. I think they need the Beastmaster there for damage. I feel like he hasn't been present in any of Navi's engagements.
Well, he might be present for this one. TP is in, but because he used the Roar on the Bear on the bot lane, it's not available. But Dendy, this time around, Flame Ray pushing Mind Control away. The Sun Ray already being burnt out here by Jirax, but then Dendy jumps in, lasso. This time it's on Mind Control. They try and glimpse back with Phoenix into the Nova. And Na'Vi, they will wait this one out. Their initiation did not work, and he still gets hit by this. But while all this is going on, you've got Matumberman taking the Tier 2 tower on bot lane. They want to stop these TPs out of here. Arnstyle's able to get his one out in the mid lane.
Kuro's been in near perfect position for these fights, though. He's sitting just in swap range of a potential lasso, and then he just cannot find any sort of jump on Liquid. And this is before the bear comes. If they try and go in the Vengeful Spirit, which they might try and do later, they can just Savage Roar.
Sorry, Raw from General in the mid, going to trigger the Necro Books as well. Then he jumps forward, there is no lasso available on Mind Control. They glimpse him back into the storm, and with the Sun Ray, it's not enough protection. In fact, it's Didira who has to start walking away from Jirax. But that's the first pick which Na'Vi have taken fairly convincingly away from the rest of the Liquid lineup.
Yeah, they can do Roche with Healing Ward and with the Beastmaster Aura if they can ever clear out Liquid from that side of the map. However, looks like Matoma Man will be closing in on maybe even earlier than 18 minutes. He will have his Relic money right now.
It was a Vanguard from Didira, so it's not the heavy farming build.
I think they're going to have severe damage issues. Jerax does have max Sunray at this point.
how else do you get around that? Like, can you just go raw damage output over on Diorama from now on?
I think it's mostly Dendi. Dendi has to get, he has level 3 Flame Break, so don't break on a few heroes with a couple of Napalm stacks. Firefly, I think he's maybe relying a little bit too much on the lasso.
And how do you actually get those sticky napalm stacks off unless Liquid are going to commit to a long drawn-out fight? Then you also need the ability to start kiting. Unless you can get like a couple of sticky napalms off, and then the glimpse will allow you to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I think he should just try and run in and you just start napalming everyone. If they turn to face him, your teammates can come in with the static storm, and then you go for the lasso. They're looking for just the easy initiation, the blink lasso, and then they're already looking for that. Maybe even a roar on a different target. They have to control multiple targets at once and not just rely on the lasso.
Well, they can give it a crack for now. It's back to the farming. Because this is just a fantastic time for a lone druid. Already up at 8.2k in his net worth. The DK is in the second position for the net worth board at 6.6k. So Fada with his armlet. Another difficult way just to execute this Dragon Knight. But the fact that Fada can just start toggling his way through it all. And there's no instant burst damage. You're not looking like a Queen of Pain being on the field, or that sharp spike of damage we saw from Templar Assassin yesterday.
And the new blink on Mind Control will hail the smoke from Liquid.
They look for their opening, a 3-man maneuver. They see Snako, or do they? They're coming up top lane. They're searching for Didier. Mind Control actually goes for the blink. He misses it. The swap will be there, but Didier now making a break for his tier 2 tower. General triggers the Necro books. He's got Roar available, and the rest of Na'Vi are coming. The whole 5-man lineup. They're burning up the mana here of Fada. So Dragon Form is still protecting him. He doesn't have the armor turned on. They glimpse him back into the wall. And the Storm. Can they hold him there? Yes, they can. Liquid, they're actually cutting their losses. They understand this DK is gone. They just want to bail out and go straight back to the other lanes to farm and push him out.
They had to commit a lot to go in this Juggernaut. And Liquid also had pretty good vision in that area with the Observer Ward. I guess that was placed after the initial jump. And now it looks like the Radiance is online for Spirit Bear.
That it is. So now we have to start worrying about all that little bit of chip damage coming their way, not to mention the missed chances. So life gets a little bit more difficult for Na'Vi. It's just this lone druid. Matumim time and time again has just destroyed so many teams with it. And this looks to be the same kind of case. They're going to slip themselves inside the pit. Now Na'Vi, they don't have Storm available for 30 seconds.
They have the Observer Ward. They see the Phoenix, so they know that something is going on in the pit.
Oh, that's when we look towards Denny then. He's got a Firefly and getting closer. Like Roshan, with that amplification, you know you can't properly contest it, but they're taking so long to get here. The Roshan's at 1.5k. Now the Sunray is out. Denny with the Flame Break. He might be able to cliff. He actually cliffs Matumberman, but Matumberman quickly TP's out. He's already got the Aegis Immortal. So now I'll be a little bit too late to the party.
Wow, that was a really nice play by Jerax. He used a Sunray to stop the Batrider blink. Without the Batrider being able to blink in the pit, there's no chance that they can snatch or take the Roshan kill. And Na'Vi just a little bit late to that. Timeline is so small when you have to deal with Amp. And Na'Vi, I think they would have been in a pretty good spot had they been able to contest the Roach or take it for themselves.
Here they come again. Smoke it up and try and look for the opening.
Wow, what a scan.
It looks like they see everything. That tier 1 tower in mid lane is what Na'Vi wants to go for, but Liquid hit the scan perfectly and Na'Vi walks straight under it, and this pushes Liquid up to their own ancient area. Hilariously enough, Snako's already put down an Observer Ward, which will now, Kuro sees it because he put down his own sentry, and Na'Vi, they just keep coming up the hill. They're looking for an opening. General, he actually started the axis for the Roar. There's your lasso over on Kuro, but then he's stunned up. The Nova is down, and Dandy so deep with no friends.
I think at that point you just take the T1 tower instead of chasing up that hill. If they're all going to retreat there, you can get better positioning by hiding around the tower.
Matumberman's coming in from behind. He's looking for an opening. Snako puts the wall up. He might just have to glimpse Matumberman away and get that bear off the front lines, but okay, not going to happen. They get back to the tree line while the rest of Liquid mop up the Necro books of the Beastmaster. And the tier 1 tower remains healthy.
And now with Lasso on cooldown, with the Aegis in possession of Liquid, I think the tier 2, maybe even a tier 3 siege starts right now. They're incredibly strong relative to Na'Vi.
They still have to be careful though. Even if you do have Lasso on cooldown, Na'Vi still have a decent AoE controller. If you commit too heavily, then the Glimpse will make sure you get punished for it. And Na'Vi don't even want to try and contest the mid lane. They're taking the tier 1 tower on the bot lane. So they get some level of trade-off. But with this maneuver, Team Liquid, Like they go up towards the top lane. This will, at the end, leave only one outer tower for Na'Vi, and that one's already down at about 1/3 of its normal life.
I think Na'Vi should just commit to split pushing a lot more, maybe get BOTs up on Dendi, and Liquid have been as 4 for most of the game until Matama Man got his Radiance. Now they're going to be sitting as 5. Just sack your towers and get towers of your own. Because now Liquid have a much more push-oriented lineup, so if you're trading 1-for-1 against a push lineup, it should be okay as long as you can hold your team 3s.
Well, they're doing it right now. That tier 2 for tier 2 tower. Liquid could go for the tier 3s. They could potentially TP back to defend their tier 2 on bot. No, General and Diddy Ra will manage to take it. The fortification will slow this up. The boards can finish the job, so they're going to TP back now. They have to defend as Liquid. The fortification from Na'Vi will hold them out.
Got to watch out for Glimpse. They have to back out as a team.
Well, they're able to do so. So, yeah, that wasn't even trade. That's still tower for tower. I think the only thing which Team Liquid held on to, and actually, no, they burned it too. They burnt their glyph, so both teams burnt their tier 2 tower glyph.
It would have been a lot more dangerous had General not TP'd there. He still had his Necro 3 up, and he can even just throw his Necro 3 plus the plus his summons at the T3 or his hero there, but then they might have been in a compromising position at that fight. I think he could have maybe waited on for
again. This smoke maneuver, Matubman's going to walk straight into it. The Observer Ward and Sentry, but Na'Vi, they walk away. They see him, but don't want to fight. The rest of Team Liquid are also coming down. They'll come underneath the Obs and Sentry. So all the movement is being watched by Na'Vi.
That's their only Observer Ward out. They had a Hawk near the top room, but no idea where the rest of
Courage goes sentries. He's going to think there's some kind of vision around here. I'm wondering if he... does he? No, he's going to walk it off.
He's probably wondering why they didn't jump.
They're pinging. Yeah, he found it out. So both the Obs and Sentry are gone.
General's setting up for maybe a wraparound onto Matamba Man. He does have a little bit of extra damage output coming out from Seneko. The roar on the summons might make this a very difficult kill, though.
Father, you're not going to find anything with this one, even with the Shadow Blade. Everyone from Na'Vi is back at home.
He's gotten so many arcane runes.
This is the new DD.
So looking at net worth, it looks like Art Style has transitioned to the number 2. He is far ahead of Dendi in terms of farm with the Dragon Lance and the Axe Scepter complete. I think that will make it very difficult for Liquid to push high ground. Maybe Sunray on the Bear. They could do a decent amount of damage.
Diddy Ra, Fada, under the Shadow Blade, runs forward. There's just done. Snako gets a good ulti off. Then he jumps in too. Lasso on Kuro, and Diddy Ra spins up and gets back into the base safely. He'll end up surviving this one with a roar. Matubman, he's caught underneath the tier 3 tower. The healing wood will come forward, allowing Na'Vi to survive through this one. With Slaughter down, Matubman will join him. Kuro will go down too. The damage is arriving from Na'Vi in the form of R-Style. Impetus damage over to Fada with the spin too. Fada's gone too. They've lost 4. Na'Vi will defend the high ground, and this is why Liquid were being so patient. They understood there's still some bite to Na'Vi's lineup.
I think it was actually impatience that caused that array of events. The Aegis expired as they killed Matamba Man. It was maybe 2 seconds before they killed him, maybe even 1 second before, and without 2 lives on a lone druid. And when you hear that sound from Na'Vi, you know that you won that fight.
Oh, they're going to take a tier 1 tower to boot. Take that momentum, continue the push. It was a 3K lead roughly for Liquid in the gold, as well as a little bit in the experience. This is going to start to skyrocket down for Na'Vi.
I didn't agree with the Vanguard at the start, but it won them that fight. And if Artstyle can get this sort of farm, you don't really need too much damage from your Juggernaut.
It's the perfect replacement. It's like, well, I don't have enough from the Juggernaut, so let's give all the space to Artstyle. You were mentioning it just before the fight. They purposely put that money into Artstyle to get him to the point where they could defend against Liquid.
Yeah, he's number 1 on net worth on Na'Vi and just a few thousand behind Matamba Man.
It seems to be the perfect hero to also put damage on in this game. Like you're going up against like 3 melee heroes. As long as he can keep that range, he can keep the kite going while still inflicting heavy damage.
Yeah, he did. He's played really well in the early game. He just output the right amount of threat with the smokes that the supports had to play really defensively. And then after that, you transition into a farming build, so the supports are still wondering where the Enchantress is. He could be farming, but he also could be smoked up. So it hurts their farm, and then he's just A-OK in his own jungle.
So overall, okay, this didn't go well for Liquid. The mid push didn't really function for him, and they gave a lot over to Na'Vi. How is the balance now on the map? Because right now, it doesn't look like either team still is in control.
Liquid have better 5-man, but I think Na'Vi just have way better pick. They have the Beastmaster. He can go for BOTs or Blink. Not sure what he's going to go for. He has 2150. Batrider also could go for BOTs, and then they have superior fight around the map. However, if they commit to that sort of build, then Liquid might just 5-man with the next Aegis if they get their hands on it.
So how do you then approach this, Liquid? If you want to 5-man the entire time, do you want to go up? Do you want to try and do what you did like before and try and assault the base of Na'Vi?
They do have good picks with the Dragon Knight, with the Shadow Blade, and that would have worked out if it weren't right under the T3. So they can still look for picks. I don't think they're that desperate at the moment. It was just one fight.
Well, their Obs is able to see Seneko next to that tier 2 tower on bot lane. And Na'Vi hovering around Roshan. It's another maybe 10-15 seconds until he has the potential spawn time. This will be in the back of the minds of the teams. Not to mention Liquid are pinging out the top lane. The fact that no one is defending that tier 3 tower on top makes them just wonder where the hell Na'Vi is. Artstar will now show himself underneath that Obs as well on bottom.
But they have a gem now on Dendi, so that will make Dragon Knight's Shadow Blade not as useful as before. Still can turn that into, let's say, Silver Edge. Pretty good versus Enchantress, both at killing her and limiting her impetus damage.
Dendi actually walked straight past the Observer Ward with the gem, but he had no vision on the hillside. So the gem gets to remain alive for a while.
Yeah, they need the Hawk to follow the gem carrier. This is generally why the Beastmaster carries the gem rather than the Batrider, although Batrider is pretty darn good. Yeah. So looks like Roshan's going to be very quick respawn, 1 minute and 10-ish.
Liquid are going to smoke up. Okay, that's not even okay. We've got like 20-25 seconds until Roshan's on the field. So if Liquid actually lose this fight, then Na'Vi potentially can grab Roshan after. But if Liquid also win this fight, they're looking at a Raxing.
So Scan peeked out exactly where the boar was, and it did catch Kuro with that.
Where do you want to go? Okay, Liquid can't find the heroes. They go for the tier 2 tower on bottom.
And let's see if that Hawk catches the tail end of the Roshan respawn. If Na'Vi know that it's up, and Liquid might.
It will.
If they know that it's up, they have to go around that pit. They can't just fall back after the T2.
There it is. They see it.
Yeah, so now I think they might be forced to fight outside of base. If it weren't up, they could just sit up at T3, but Liquid very likely to check Roshan after that pit, and they have superior vision with those 2 Observer Wards that have not yet been taken down.
They still haven't looked yet. Liquid have focused pretty heavily on just the lane. It would take like a wave of terror from Kuro to have a peek.
Or the Bear. Or
Bear, yep.
Anything.
And there it is, wave of terror. They know Roshan's up. At the same time, the Hawk also gets scouted out, moving over towards the pit.
Yeah, and Liquid now, they can't leave the pit. But Matama Man TP to the left side, but if they want to contest Roche, he needs to be there for this fight.
Yeah,
they scout him out with the Observer Ward. They know he's not there.
Na'Vi actually have an opening now because Liquid have left. So if they can actually get rid of the Observer Ward, is Beastmaster carrying around the gem? No, he's not, but he triggers the Necrobooks, and with the axes, he gets a vision on the ward. So he'll get rid of it that way. Then there's still the committal of Necrobooks to get rid of that ward, but it might be worth it. Liquid are coming back over.
And there's also a gem on the Phoenix. Let's see if they get the Dire Observer
The Bear makes
Ward.
the run. Na'Vi, they're looping around. They want Liquid to try and buy them. That's why Denny, BKB Lasso, catching out Kuro, taking that Vengeful Spirit out of the play already. And Matumman caught down the river, roared up. The spin's going to happen. The Nova's also down. Fighter is dropping low. Enchantress pumping out the damage with a crush from Mind Control, stopping the inflicting of it. And Fighter, then a Sunray, he actually just heals up so quickly, combining up with the armlet. Na'Vi are bailing out this one. They lost 2. The Savage Roar a little bit too late there. But that's 2 heroes down from Na'Vi, and now Liquid will be taking Roshan.
And they did get Kuro with the lasso, but then their other damage dealers are just wailing onto Ditya-Ra. Ditya-Ra, he spun, even with his Vanguard, he died during the spin, was not able to get his Omni Slash off, and that will be a free road.
Dendi. Oh, he attempts the steal. But Roshan is still killed by the Radiant, and the Lone Druid has the Aegis, the Immortal. Dendi does not have buyback available. A 50-second window has just been opened up. But the upside for Na'Vi is all the creep waves are already pushed out. So by the time Liquid arrive, Dendi will be back.
And at least he had the presence of mind and dropped his gem before he went into the pit, or else that just would have been suicidal.
He needed the slot to get the Aegis anyway. Trying to make the next fight a little bit easier for them.
And now with Aegis in tow and a lot of auras on the Spirit Bear, he was what, maybe like 3,000 ahead of the Enchantress. Now he's 7,000 ahead.
Yeah. And increasing.
So who do they need to kill in fights? Dendi needs to lasso Kuro so he doesn't get a swap off, but then Phoenix gets like a full Sunray off on these huge strength cores or tanky core like Lone Druid.
It also seems like Slardar is causing them the most amount of problems. Like mind control crushes are always catching 2 or 3 heroes of Na'Vi, stopping them from like art style. He almost had that kill over on Fighter until the crush came from mind control.
And they have no armor on Na'Vi, so you have the amp damage and the minus armor from the Assault Cuirass, and everyone's just getting ripped to shreds.
Na'Vi are coming out, Matamaman, he's the closest one, and well, this should be a guaranteed kill. With the lasso back, they try and take their distance here, and Matamaman, well, impetus damage, Arstal, you need to actually throw that into Matamaman, but he doesn't do it. In fact, even one of those impetus went over towards the bear. So Matamaman will survive for now, and you're seeing the mind control trying to punish Na'Vi as they come out.
And now it's clear that damage output is severely lacking. Need at least one more item with Juggernaut before they can take a straight 5-on-5. I don't think Liquid's going to give them that much time to farm, though. Na'Vi drawing arrows towards the bottom lane, knowing that they need to get all the lanes pushed out so Liquid can't approach their T3.
Oh, Diddy Ra's going to find mind control. It's a little too close to the Ancients for him just to commit a complete solo Omni Slash.
And DK's being pretty smart and not showing on the map. He's farming the newts, he's relatively close to his team, but everyone's going to be scared to push out the lanes. Diddy Ra has to back off the bottom lane because they don't know where Fada is.
Liquid. They were healing up Matamaman with Sunray. And now they're just staring down the barrel of that mid lane, but Na'Vi, they were able to hold this once before. Underneath the tier 3 towers, Liquid will not make the same mistake again. And again, they're a lot stronger than they were back then. With BKBs over on Fada. Got actually 3.5k gold on Jirax. I'm assuming we're just going to go straight to Shiva's.
Shiva's pretty good. Axe is fairly reasonable, especially with the single target from the Batrider and the Beastmaster.
Haven't seen Axe Phoenix in a while. Wouldn't mind it.
Looks like just Shiva's will be his build. I still think Na'Vi are not doing a very good job of pushing the lanes out at all. No BOTs up, and they're falling way behind in terms of farm right now. It was pretty close until 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and then everything just started going horribly wrong after the fight, and then Roshan. Team Liquid, they are grouped up. Funnily enough, Na'Vi still have 3 players down on the southern part of the map. They'll have to come back to base now. And Liquid, they're also smoked, looking for an opening. Kuro, he's kind of like the primary guy for that one. The level 2 swap, some really good range. But they don't have vision inside the base either. And now the Glimpse actually dragging Fada back, but no committal. Potentially looking to maybe force out a BKB charge for him, but Fada doesn't care. He goes Dragon Form, and they're coming up high ground. You are still not having Juggernaut here. He's too far away. The stun comes in over on Arstal. Remember, he's a big source of damage. He'll turn it around, now trying to hit into Fada, who seems to be okay with this when Jirax is there holding his hand with Sunray, a full medic frontliner. Diddy Ra, mind control. Okay, he came up. Yeah, I don't know if he was looking for a real stun, but Fada's able to get one. The nice storm over on Kuro. He's actually dropping really, really low. Fada walks back into it under the cover of his BKB, but the Raw will also control him. Arstal just pumping out the cannon damage from the rear end. Fada, he's going to go down. They've lost 2. The stun comes out from the bear. Arstal so low. The flame ray trapped by space. Arstal with the sun ray from Jirax. He'll kill him at the end. And Dendi as well. He's burning in the pit. The 4-star will allow him to retreat. The bear may go down, but a fresh one gets summoned up here by Matamaman. Now the Crush General still on the front lines. He's going to get entangled as well. General! RNG is against him this time around. Matamaman keeps going onto the racks. The bear is just so damn strong. Arstal wants something with the help of Denny. Maybe he can claim Matamaman's down low, but mind control initiates in. Arstal locked in by the bear, and with the Sunray, the heal starts coming in, and Denny has to force-start himself away to save him. There's just no place to be safe. The Liquid are all over this Na'Vi base. They take the top racks out. And now with a Glimpse, maybe they can catch out mind control. In fact, they will be able to with a spin out from Diddy Ra. But the damage is done. Team Liquid have taken the top racks.
And another fight where he had the Aegis, it ticked down, and then he got hit by a Firefly, so he couldn't heal it from the Aegis, and then he just died like a second after. It's a sad life for mind control, or for Matamaman rather.
You're still happy if you're Liquid. You still hold a huge advantage. You're about 10k net worth in front now. You got a top racks going your way with such a great push lineup with Lone Druid as well as DK. Just that enough would make you very happy.
The Phoenix is just left unchecked in all these fights, just channeling Sunray and healing all the damage that Diddy Ra could do.
How you meant to check him? Like, he's always so far back, you can't stop it.
They committed 2 ultimates to Kuro. They had the, I think, BKB, Blink, Lasso, and then they dropped the Static Storm on top of it. That's just way too much more. I think the Disruptor can hopefully control the Phoenix if you're Na'Vi, and Bat Rider can deal with the Ventral Spirit, or maybe even just roar the Ventral Spirit and lasso someone else. They cannot commit 2 ultimates like that though, to the Ventral Spirit.
We'll see how Na'Vi approach it next time around. Because it won't be too long until that happens. We can check out Roshan's about a minute and a half away from potential spawn time.
I think Daerod really needs Manta. I think that's the second time he's just died very early on instead of fight. Howl of Terror on top of the other minus armor. He needs to be able to dispel those to live. It's much better than just building 1 armor item.
Well, he's not too far away from getting it. And in fact, when I say not too far, he's got it. 36 minutes in, didn't realize the recipe was over on the courier. But this is a buyout for this. As far as buybacks go, like obviously he doesn't want to save any of his money. You had to buy back on both the Juggernaut as well as the Enchantress for Na'Vi to attempt to hold that top lane before. So right now it's only Dendi as well as General who have the buybacks.
Enchantress can still dish out the damage in team fights once she completes her Moon Shard. I just don't know if she's going to be that safe. You saw how deeply they committed into the Fountain to make sure that she was dead and at least had to commit their buyback to that fight.
Yeah.
So I think Liquid realized that she's a very high priority, wondering how these heavy armor, like few thousand HP heroes are just melting. And it's all because of Enchantress. Even Matama Man near the end, he realized that he just needs to run towards her. If they can get in her face and force her to either run away or hit them while they're in melee range, she's not a problem.
It's amazing how well this is working for Na'Vi on bot lane. General pushes the lane almost to the tier 3 tower. Team Liquid for the last 30 seconds been all holding hands as a 5-man group.
I feel like he should have been doing this most of the game though. I think he should be much more farmed than he is. He's number 5 on net worth, but he's very, very scared. Sometimes you just have to take the risk. Yeah, there could be a DK there, shadow bladed, but if there's just one hero, you can just roar them and kill them. At this point, his Necro 3 is not that strong. I think he had Necro 3 sub 20 minutes. He hasn't been able to get a solo pick with it.
It's also the safety of having Tidira. Like the fact he has that mana style, he was using it to scout out and see what was going on. Maybe you could find Team Liquid right now. If they're going to find Liquid, they have to go to Roshan. But Roshan currently has negative 18 armor, and he drops so quickly. If Na'Vi has any intention of trying to compete up against that, like they had to be there before it started. Which they were not.
And Cheese will go to Slarnar.
Yeah. With the immortality into the hands again of the Lone Druid.
So for Na'Vi this fight, they have to get like a multiple engagements at once. One hero roared, one hero lassoed, or one hero lassoed and another hero static storm. It's going to be insanely difficult versus the BKB though. No scepter up on the Disruptor. They cannot prevent those from being popped.
I love this last little item from Sparta. Enjoy Heaven's Halberd, man. Invasion and everything else, so Na'Vi. Do you want to try and come out and fight, catch Liquid off guard?
I don't think so. It's too risky. They don't know where they have vision. Denny hasn't been able to sweep the area free with his gem.
But still with a pickup lineup, you need to get something. I suppose Liquid aren't really giving you any openings either.
They have to force Liquid to split apart. They're not split pushing out the lane, so Liquid are just okay with going mid. They have the low Druid Bear too, and he hasn't even been forced to put the Bear into other lanes just because the lanes aren't pushed out. Still no BOTs out from Na'Vi.
There's no easy way just to split push it. Diarra is actually walking up on this top lane. He's going to pick up a TP scroll. If he sells his Ring of Aquila, he'll be able to grab it now, which he will do. Liquid stare down the barrel of the mid lane. Didier will reveal himself on top lane in just a bit. So it relieves pressure, but it won't be enough for Team Liquid to come back.
Not at all.
And Arstar's like a cannon with that Moon Shard. If the Lone Druid Bear loses half of its life in a very, very short span of time.
And Liquid have to feel very comfortable. 3 minutes until the Aegis respawn, so no Aegis Death shenanigans.
Barter, there's your jump in, mind control, right on top of General. He's going to go down low, but he actually gets his roar off in time. That Phoenix egg is in the perfect spot. Na'Vi had nowhere to go apart from down. Dira will be lost as well. A trip buyback right now from Na'Vi to defend their mid lane, but they don't have their sources of damage. They don't have Ench, they do not have the Juggernaut, and they don't have this game. GG! Na'Vi will lose game 1 to Team Liquid, as Liquid just really solid. Maybe a bit of a hiccup with that mid lane push, but apart from that, they were in control.
Their only hiccups were with the Aegis, maybe a little bit from the early game, but that's to be expected with Art Styles Enchantress. Overall, I think they went in with a game plan. Na'Vi just lacked damage output on a lot of fronts, did not control the Phoenix, even though Phoenix has a really low win rate. In the hands of Jerix, it looks very powerful and worthy of first pick.
And Na'Vi, I know there's a lot of fans here in the crowd who are cheering them on, trying to see like a quality game from them, but they've had some really hard matchups. Like you get OG as your first one, and then you get Liquid as your second one. Hey, come on, it's a hard life if you're a Na'Vi fan right now.
I also think it was really smart for Liquid to kind of draft like against the crowd. Like if they have a push strat, they're not really smoking that much, and like the smokes aren't really that big of a deal. I think that might have been affecting their draft a little bit.
Oh, so you're hoping for the non-Mineski effect, like the non-hey,
well, you don't,
the crowd is
like
your
if
second
you were
ops.
playing Na'Vi's lineup as Liquid,
yeah.
Every time there's a Bat Rider coming around.
Very true. Very true. Well, that's game number 1. Game number 2 is just around the corner. Before we go there, we'll get the thoughts from the panel. Thank you very much. Yes, Toby 1 and Melini on game 1. We'll return to them, of course, for game 2, but we will get the thoughts from our panel right now on a win for Liquid in game 1. But they didn't have it all their own way. Na'Vi putting up a good fight. And Charlie, impressed with the way that Liquid played out?
Yes, but who I really want to hear from is Winter. Winter, I know you want to flame here. I know you're disappointed. I know you want to flame that Bat Rider. I know you want to flame the Juggernaut play. Winter, show me your disappointment.
Come on, it's not the Bat Rider's fault. They picked the Bat Rider into the bench.
Okay. You spent that entire game with your head in your head in your hands, Winter. Come on, give it to me.
Well, that was not the first thing. Like we were talking about the last pick. Like Bat Rider was just
He's
really
goading you, Winter.
Winter, you are the secret flamer on this panel. Come on, bring it out. Black's nodding his head.
Bat Rider wasn't a great pick here. It was really bad to pick the Bat here, in my opinion. I thought the Invoker, and Black even thought the Invoker would have been great. Better scaling to the late game. And you know, that when there's a bench, you're always forced to even lasso the bench, which is not ideal for the Bat in team fights. There's just so many more important heroes that he needed to focus. And I know Black wasn't a fan of his. I wasn't pretty much of a fan of the build that the Jug went this game as well. He went for a Vanguard, even though it saved him in one crucial fight. But they severely lacked damage when they needed the Jug to actually deal a lot of damage this game when they lasso and started the fight. But even though Enchantress was so farmed, but it's like what, 8 minutes minus?
Yeah. Na'Vi did recognize that they have a severe lack of DPS. The Ench did opt to go for the Midas because he knows he needs a transition to be a carry. But I really didn't like the Bat Rider pick at all. They knew they do not have DPS at all, and they pick it into a hard counter. We all thought they would pick a DPS hero for last, and they didn't. They picked the Bat Rider, which you want to be really active with and get a lot of things going, and that it just doesn't work against 3 really tanky core heroes.
You could see it from their play, yeah. You could see it from their play. They were like really nervous about getting ganks done in the lane because they know if the game progresses without kills, it's really bad for them, and they were nervous. They made like the first 2 blink ganks were unsuccessful. They had a few miscommunications. They had a glimpse when he lassoed the target. Like everything wasn't going too well for Na'Vi in the early game.
In the very early game, though, a few kills. They seemed to be pressurizing mid. Looked okay. It wasn't great, but it looked okay.
It wasn't at the pace that Na'Vi wanted. If you noticed that. It was
not enough.
No, it wasn't. For the early mid game, the kill score was relatively low. Na'Vi wants a high-paced game. They want a lot of kills, a lot of skirmishes, but it was really just Liquid pressuring every point on the map. Liquid took so many towers early, and Na'Vi didn't.
Just look at the Lone Druid. He was untouched completely. He was 0-0-0, minute 17. He had a Radiance. From that point on, it's all Liquid. They can't teamfight anymore. The Lone Druid is just too massive. Although Liquid made a really crucial mistake in that one fight in the mid lane. I think we see it here. He swapped in the Lone Druid to save his own life, and at the same time the Aegis ran out, and that fight just was a catastrophe for them because of that. Yep. It was a bit unlucky with the timing, but I don't think you should ever really swap your lone druid in there.
Yeah, this game only went went this long. No thanks to Artstyle being so farm on the edge. If he wasn't that farm this game would have been over for Navi like very long ago. Like I think his decision to go for the Midas was really, really good this game.
Yeah, he channeled his inner black and bought a Midas.
We saw 3 Midases here.
Yeah. Well, Liquid do pull it out in the end. Those
Yeah, I mean,
three
what
tanky
else can you
cores.
say about the play that they had? Because I felt like they played very patiently, Charlie. They weren't going to rise to the bait that Na'Vi was trying to lay down for them. They weren't going to get involved with team fights they didn't want to get involved in.
Yeah.
Maybe probably one bad team fight mistake in that mid throughout the whole game. And that's what we were talking about before the match, wasn't it? The limited amount of mistakes that Liquid made.
Yeah, it was a little sloppy on both sides with Liquid's high ground push there, and Winter mentioned that they did have those 2 early failed ganks with the Bat Lasso. Na'Vi really needed those to increase the tempo of the game. And when your early ganks aren't successful, those are the most crucial ones because it pressures the enemy and allows you to get your snowball rolling. But if you mess it up yourself,
You got no one else to blame,
Yeah.
Basically, I can understand why they went for the bat, even though I felt it was really bad. It's maybe because they wanted to have a hero that can actually deal damage against the DK when the Enchantress came in, because he had a lot of damage with Firefly, Napalm. But if you make a mistake when you're trying to gank, it's just so bad for the whole pace of the game for you.
One thing that I feel we didn't address yet is DK actually went for Heaven's Halberd. It is like the perfect item against Enchantress in this game. Enchantress is going to have a lot of mishits on him when they siege high ground. And on top of that, if he ever gets into the range, which is I think 600, then he just can't attack for 4 seconds. Ench doesn't want to go BKB, and he's their only damage they have. Juggernaut didn't go for a damage-oriented build. He went for Battle Fury 3rd, so his farm was really slow. And I think that item build actually made it so easy for them to just pressure the high ground.
That was a very good point. Just because of how much damage came from the Ench, and having that item means that now there was no way Navi could have done damage in the fights.
Okay, let's talk about Phoenix. Hasn't had a particularly good tournament, Charlie. Very low win rates right now, 30%. But in the hands of Jerax, suddenly, it looks like the perfect hero again.
Well, it was really good in this draft because Liquid had tanky cores to sit in the front line and push down towers, and Phoenix can just sit in the back and just Sunray heroes and heal up the Bear, heal up the Dragon Knight. It worked, it synergized really well in this draft. And I think that's the difference that you've seen here versus other games where Phoenix is just picked just because people think he's good. You still have to make that hero work within the confines of your playstyle.
I did have one question, which was, do you think Dendi should have gone with the Nyx in the mid?
No,
I think
they needed
we've seen him do it, but
they needed a hero that scales and has DPS.
They need DPS for sure.
I mean, the Invoker would have been a better pick, surely.
Yeah, and it would have lain fine against the Dragon Knight. They could have set up Sunstrike ganks with the Beastmaster as well, and the Lasso. Or sorry, no Lasso.
Beastmaster, bro. Only the Beastmaster, bro.
Yeah.
We spoke about it. We wanted to see either Timbersaw, which he played last 2 years ago, so obviously not the best choice for them, or an Invoker, but they definitely needed DPS. Maybe even Windrunner is better than Badrider, but Invoker was just the optimal choice there.
Do you think there was a bit of juking going on in the draft there? Because of the way that Liquid picked in and the way they banned, it looked like they were saying, yeah, take the Windrunner. We've got a plan for it. It was almost like they wanted Dendi to take the Windrunner.
They were really focused on building up their plan, which is like what Charlie mentioned, having heavy cores and with a Phoenix sitting behind. That's what they wanted to do. And with a defensive support and mind control.
Yeah.
No doubt the MVP there.
He played amazingly. In all fights, he always stayed alive. He had 4-staff Blink. He really played around them perfectly. He always amped the right heroes. He jumped back in when he had to, even with low HP. I think he made it really easy for them in team fights.
What I really like about his play this game is that he didn't wait to get a Blink Dagger to get active. Even before he picked it up, he got it relatively late in terms of like how many engagements he was taking before the dagger.
He got many early items. Like he got a magic wand early, and he got raindrops. He got tranquils. He had many. He didn't like rush the blink. Basically.
Yeah. And then before that, he was running around, still contributing to fights, especially that early mid-team fight.
This is how you want to play Slada because of the sprint. You don't want to just sit and farm. You want to be able to run around, control runes. That is extremely important for Slada. Secure the runes for DK, run around, try to set up kills if possible for your team.
As soon as he hit 6, he ran to middle and assisted Dragon Knight, and they got a kill out of it, and he actually saved Dragon Knight as well. That was a really big game changer.
Yep.
Liquid just back to their booze on their way back right now. Na'Vi are already back in there. You probably heard the cheers from the crowd. We're getting used to that right now. How much of an impact was that in that game, Winter? Because the crowd are cheering for Na'Vi, and they're getting behind their team, they're getting them cheered up. But actually, most of the cheers at the end of the game were when they were actually very deep inside their own base. They were pushed right back and still getting massive cheers on kills that really didn't matter.
They were really far behind, though. Like we said, if they don't get a lead with their early game, Bat plus Beastmaster and Enchantress, you're just in so much trouble after that. They lost the tier 1 tower so early. I mean, it was a really difficult game for Na'Vi after that.
Yeah, Liquid seemed to be able to cope with that pretty well. It's just like, no problem.
Yeah, these guys have been in these booths for a while now. They're all, I mean, some of them are newcomers, but at this point, they all have experience with crowds.
What's Kuroki saying going into draft number 2?
Same thing he always says, right? Be calm, player. Let's stick to our game plan, and everything should be okay.
One thing I do want to address though is Na'Vi, despite being behind severely, they had really brilliant plays. Even at the end, they won team fights they shouldn't have won, and I think if they draft a bit better to their strengths, they will actually be in a lot better shape than what we just saw from them.
Okay, so what we're going to see, draft 2 from Na'Vi then?
Well, I hope what they usually pick, which is a lot of damage, because this game they had a lot of control, but only one real damage dealer, because the Juggernaut opted for a tanky build, which I didn't agree with at all. I think if they just stick to their guns, because usually we would have seen that in Walker. I don't know why they picked a bad rider. Maybe they thought they needed more disable or something.
And going back to the opening as well, Black, they open up with Beastmaster Disruptor. That's why we always talk about Beastmaster plus Lion instead, because of the burst. You have much more damage for the roll.
Yeah.
This game, they were severely lacking of that.
Yeah, Disruptor has been one of those heroes, Charlie, that's just become much more popular as the meta has changed throughout the whole tournament. We didn't see it at all day one, but it just started to creep in the group stage. And then at the main event, it's been one of the most popular heroes picked.
Yeah, a lot of credit to not just the hero, but the players playing that hero. You've seen so many really good Disruptor ults. You've seen Glimpse used really well to punish out-of-position heroes. Even in that last game, that fight near the Roshan, it started out really, really good for Na'Vi, where they picked off Kuroki in the very beginning, and then they had a great Disruptor ult that zoned out the other 4 heroes on that on Liquid.
Also, what we need to talk about is Slaughter. MVP used to first pick him, and Alliance as well. Now a lot of teams start first picking him, because even if you have a hero that doesn't have a lot of damage naturally, when you amp someone, you will double or triple your damage. And he's just a really good all-around hero. He has stun, he has slow, damage amplification. There's nothing the hero doesn't have.
He's fast. I think that's one of the things that's really underrated of the hero, because he runs around so quickly that he scouts the map. He does a lot of things for the team that goes unnoticed. That's why the hero is actually so good.
Yeah, like what we have seen from Mind Control. I think he blew up 2 smokes for the mid lane. Just stood there, he sprinted there. Oh, you're actually coming. Oh, okay, I'm just going to sprint back. And then the whole smoke game was useless.
Yeah, 8th most picked